We have multiple starters for the Indiana Fever in the 2026 All-Star game. Congratulations first to Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Clark.
3 All-Star starters on one team in a single season. That barely ever happens. Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, all voted in as 2026 WNBA All-Star starters. So why does it feel like the Indiana Fever fanbase is at war with its own head coach the exact same week that banner should be going up?
Let's see this little video that the Fever put up.
Caitlin Clark,
Boston,
Kelsey Mitchell.
This is how you bring the roof down.
Oh, sidestep Clark. Step. Clark with the ball on a string.
Like a globetrotter from another stratosphere. Big bucket Boston.
Okay, and that's where I'm going to stop it.
On paper, this is a franchise sitting on top of the sport, the most watched team in the league, 3 of the biggest names in women's basketball, a hype video that plays like a highlight reel. But scroll into the replies under any Fever post right now, and you will not find a celebration. You will find a revolt. People telling the team they're done. People calling for the coach's job under a video that's supposed to be good news. To understand how a team this successful got here, you have to rewind about a week to one play that never got whistled and a suspension that turned into something way bigger than basketball. And here's the part I need you to hold on to, because it breaks the easy version everybody's sharing. This got packaged as coach versus fans, but the whole thing started with a fist to Caitlin Clark's throat. Keep that in your head, because the second you hear what the coach truly said, the full quote, not the clip, this entire story flips on you.
Here we go. Little fan reaction. Can't wait for the day Cece is playing somewhere else. Only Stephanie White could turn a team with 3 All-Stars into a 7th seed. Fire that pathetic coach Stephanie White. How the F is she still defending Alyssa Thomas? Wow. Don't promote our girl, Cece, if she's not going to get to play. In other words, protect her better. Fire Stephanie White.
So let's start on the floor. June 22nd, Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Fever and Mercury. Second straight meeting between these two, and it was already chippy. Clark hits the deck, going for a loose ball. Phoenix veteran Alyssa Thomas comes up out of the pile, and her fist makes contact with Clark's throat. Live, in the moment, nothing, no foul. The officials later said flat out that they didn't see it. Clark ended up leaving that game in the second half with a back problem, and Phoenix won it, 111 to 109. The next day, the league office reviewed the tape. They called it a non-basketball act. They upgraded it to a Flagrant 2, fined Thomas $1,000, and suspended her 1 game. And here is the detail the fire the coach crowd keeps leaving out. Stephanie White was livid about that no call. She called it egregious. She said the fact that it wasn't whistled right there in the moment was absolutely unacceptable. She said she raised it with the referees at halftime and was told they simply didn't see it. So the coach these fans want run out of town? She's the one who went public, swinging at the officials for not protecting Clark.
Hey.
All right. That's the only one we're going to watch. That's the only one we're going to watch. But, yeah, right there, Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell have all made.
And the officiating cuts both directions right now, which is what makes this whole stretch so combustible. In the game just before that one, Clark got tangled up with her former teammate DeWanna Bonner, and the two teams combined for 6 technical fouls and an ejection. Clark picked one up herself and argued afterward that she never should have gotten it. The league looked at it and decided not to rescind it. That's not nothing. By rule, that technical reportedly put Clark within 3 of an automatic 1-game suspension of her own for the season. So sit with that picture. Your franchise player is getting hit hard enough that the league is upgrading fouls after the fact, and at the same time, she's collecting technicals fast enough that she could get suspended for arguing with referees who keep missing calls against her. That's the pressure cooker this team is living in every single night. It's not just one bad play. It's a whole season of Clark hitting the floor and the whistle showing up late, if it shows up at all.
Herb Simon, I would have heard that rant, and within 30 minutes, Stephanie White would have been relieved of her duties. I'd have sent her off to work. She's auditioned for ESPN. I'd have sent her off to work with her wife or her husband or whatever Lisa's.
Now here's where it stopped being about basketball. Once Thomas was suspended, she went in front of reporters, and the story flipped hard. She said she and her family were getting death threats. She said people were sending racial slurs. She said she and her teammates were being, her word, painted as thugs over a play she insists was a complete accident that nobody even noticed until after the final buzzer. She called out the commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, by name, saying the league hadn't done enough to protect its players. And look, you can think the suspension was the right call. You can watch that replay and decide the contact was reckless and deserved every bit of it. Plenty of people do, and that's a defensible take. But death threats over a basketball game are a completely different animal. That's the situation Stephanie White walked straight into when she stepped up to the microphone a few days later. And it wasn't just her. The league office put out a statement saying what Thomas and her teammates went through was completely unacceptable and not representative of the WNBA community, and that security had been in touch with Phoenix. The Fever, for their part, renewed their own call for player safety on the court. So by the time White spoke, this had already climbed all the way up to the commissioner's office. Not a normal post-game, a powder keg.
Yeah, Christine Brennan yesterday on the Dan Dockage show, a really good interview by Dan Dockage. I'm going to keep it real. A really good interview with Christine Brennan, and she said she believes this is the definitive picture of the NBA, the WNBA right now.
And that's exactly when the national media grabbed it. It stopped being a Fever story and became a referendum on the entire league, the officiating, the culture, the way Caitlin Clark keeps ending up on the ground. You had analysts arguing on one side that the WNBA has a genuine problem protecting its single biggest draw. And you had Hall of Famers on the other side saying this specific foul got blown out of proportion, that if the referees had just called it a Flagrant 2 live, none of this circus would have happened at all. Both of those things can be partly true at the same time. And that friction is a big reason these clips travel so far. But the actual flashpoint, the moment that lit the fan base on fire, wasn't a foul or a media panel. It was one press conference. And that press conference is where this whole thing got twisted on its way around the internet.
The game that people said, oh, well, I don't think fans are really going to tune out. Yeah, compared to the previous game, 980,000 fans decided not to watch. A boycott can be done. A boycott can be done. What Stephanie White said yesterday.
Because here's what the fan base did with it. You started seeing boycott talk everywhere. People posting that they're canceling, that they're out, that they won't watch another game. Some folks pointing at a soft rating for one recent broadcast as proof that a boycott is already working. And I want to be careful and honest with you here because that's exactly the kind of number that gets thrown around way louder than it gets proven. I've seen the claim that a huge chunk of the audience tuned out of a specific game, figures like nearly 1 million viewers gone compared to the game before it. I can't confirm that number, and neither can most of the people repeating it. TV ratings swing for a dozen boring reasons: the opponent, the night, the broadcast window, whatever else is on. And for what it's worth, Thomas served that one-game suspension Saturday when Phoenix visited Toronto, so the on-court penalty is already in the books. This fight is happening after the fact, in the discourse, not on the floor. So treat the boycott is crushing them stat as a claim, not a fact. What's real is the frustration underneath it. That part is not made up.
Here, I mean, a lot of people tagged. She is tagged. This is tagged right here. Stephanie White's rant is tagged on these posts. It is, boy. And what is this? Gamecocks? I mean, they're 8 up with South. Look at that. They're 8 up with South Carolina. Boycott. It's ugly. It's ugly.
So let me finally tell you what she actually said, word for word, because the version getting passed around is not the version that came out of her mouth. On July 1st, before she took a single question, Stephanie White opened her press conference by addressing the harassment aimed at Thomas. She said, and I'm quoting her directly, "It's absolutely unacceptable." She said, as a league as a whole, there's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight-out nonsense, hate nonsense. And then the line, everything hinges on. She said, most of this, in my heart of hearts, I believe is not coming from WNBA fans, Indiana Fever fans. I believe this is people who are using our league, using our players to further divisive agendas. Read that again. She condemned death threats and slurs. She said the worst of it is coming from online agitators, and she specifically drew a line between those people and actual fans. Nowhere in there does she tell Christians to stop watching. Nowhere does she tell conservatives they're not welcome. That headline, the idea that she stood up and banned half her own fan base, is a spin that got stacked on top of what she really said. Now that you've heard the real words, you get to decide for yourself whether that spin is fair or whether somebody just needed a villain.
After what Stephanie White said yesterday, it is ugly. And you know what? Stephanie White has allowed her own social and political beliefs to officially interfere with her professional job. I have a vote of no comment.
But I'm not going to pretend the anger is pure fiction, because it isn't. This is where the critics deserve their due. A real chunk of that fan base heard divisive agendas and felt personally lumped in. They feel like every time they criticize this coaching staff, the rotations, a 7th seed feel on a roster with 3 All-Stars, the sense that Clark isn't being protected, it gets waved off as hate instead of heard as basketball. That's a legitimate grievance. When a coach says most of the noise is bad faith outsiders, the ordinary fan who spent real money on tickets and a jersey and a hotel in Indianapolis can absolutely walk away feeling like they just got told they don't count. So the boycott chatter, the sarcastic giveaway jokes, people posting that they're done, a lot of that isn't organized political warfare. It's hurt. And a franchise that laughs that off, that treats every unhappy customer as a troll, is a franchise that's going to learn a very expensive lesson about who pays for the tickets.
Politically middle center to right, and you're or a Christian, they told you not to be a fan. Understand that the coach told you not to be a fan of the team, that you're not a real fan.
And the money is why this matters more for the Fever than for anybody else in the league, and it is not close. This is the team that dragged women's basketball into the mainstream. The sold-out road arenas, the record television windows, the merchandise flying off the shelves. An enormous share of that is Clark's audience, and a huge slice of that audience is brand new to the sport. They didn't grow up on the WNBA. They showed up for her. That same audience is a big part of why this league just landed a media rights deal and a new collective bargaining agreement worth far more than anything in its history. So when that specific audience feels insulted, this isn't hurt feelings, it's the golden goose getting poked with a stick. And you can hold both truths at once. The coach was defending her players from genuine hate, which she was. And the front office cannot afford to have any part of that brand new audience feeling unwelcome, which is also true. Both of those are sitting on the table right now, and that's the real dilemma none of these rage clips want to touch.
I have never seen a coach attack a fan base that literally built the new CBA, that literally landed the new media rights deal. Those fans that have taken their time and spent their money, the coach crapped on yesterday. I've never heard of anything like that in sports.
There's also history stacked underneath all of this, and it's why the fuse burned so fast. This is not the first hard foul on Clark to get upgraded after the fact. Last season, a foul on her by Marina Mabrey started as a technical and got bumped up to a flagrant 2 on review. Same exact pattern, missed in the moment, corrected later. Clark's also been fighting back trouble, limited to a handful of games last season with lower body issues. So the fans who feel like she's a marked player aren't inventing that out of nowhere. There's a track record of Clark ending up on the floor and the officials arriving late. Now stack all of it together. A scary throat hit, a no call, a suspension, a wave of death threats. A coach whose words got chopped up and reframed overnight. Put that entire pile under one fan base and you get a room that's ready to detonate over anything. The kindling was already there. The press conference was just the match that lit it.
I can tell you right now, folks, Christy Sides would have never done this. I owe that lady a massive apology. Peace, I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on
So where does this leave things? Stephanie White is not getting fired over a press conference where she condemned death threats. No serious front office walks a coach out the door for that. And if you look closely, a lot of the "she's heading for the exit, ownership wants her gone" talk is coming from the very same channels that manufactured the outrage in the first place. Treat those exit rumors as exactly that, rumors, unconfirmed and conveniently profitable for the people spreading them. But the softer problem is real, and it isn't going away. Part of that new audience feels talked down to, and in this league, that audience is the entire ball game. The All-Star game is coming, with 3 Fever players starting in it. The second half of the season is coming, and the thing that decides how all of this ages isn't whether one coach picked the wrong words in the worst possible week. It's whether the people running this team can protect their biggest star, defend their players from actual hate, and still make the fans who built this whole thing feel like they belong, all at the same time. That's the needle. Miss it in either direction, and you lose a piece of what makes this team special. So I want to hear from you, and be honest now that you've got the full quote in front of you, instead of the chopped-up version. Do you think Stephanie White crossed a line with her own fan base, or do you think she got twisted by people who needed a villain for the week? Drop it in the comments and don't hold back. Hit that like button if you'd rather have the real story than the rage bait. And subscribe, because this Fever season is a long way from over.